Hi, I'm Chris Stirewalt, and this is Power Play. Hello, Internet, from our final hot day in Philadelphia. And apparently this has become feats of strength in Philadelphia as each day. We've had thunderstorms, we've had oppressive heat. I'm going for frogs and locusts tonight, but we are very happy to be here because we're able to talk about some very interesting things with very interesting people who we can cause to talk to us because they just want to be in anything that's air conditioned. One of those people I want you to meet, Betsy Hoover. She is the Director of Digital Organizing for the 2012 Obama for America campaign, fancy, which is fancy, and she is a founding partner at 270 Strategies, which is a Democratic strategy firm that I guess wants Hillary Clinton to win the election?
The goal.
Mostly?
That's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the goal.
Mostly that. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
How
Happy
you doing?
to be here. I'm doing great. How are you?
What's the best thing you've eaten while you've been in Philly?
Ooh, we had a late night cheesesteak situation that was pretty good. Jim's cheesesteak.
So I just want to be clear about this as a fat American. Jim's cheesesteak is better than the Pat and Gino's, like the
Yeah.
It's better.
It is better.
But Johnny's roast pork that has the broccoli rabe with the little bitter, you put a little bitter in with the very cheesy cheese.
I haven't done it.
It's
interesting. Good. Well, I'll check that. I have one more day.
You've cheated yourself.
One more day.
Is what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
All right, so first of all, I thought that Joe Biden gave the speech of like his career, fantastic speech. Yeah. I felt like for a moment that on his part and on the part of the hall that there was a little bit of, boy, wouldn't it be cool if he were accepting the presidential nomination instead of saying goodbye? Do you think that was an element?
I mean, he gave a great speech last night, and, you know, he's someone who's really built a relationship with the American voter, and he's relatable. It's like you're having a conversation with him when he's on stage. So he really brought it last night, but I think he also did a great job teeing up Tim Kaine as his successor and teeing up Hillary Clinton.
I don't know how it would be for Tim Kaine to follow Joe Biden as actual vice president, but having to follow him as speaker. So Republicans didn't have this problem because they don't obviously have an incumbent president. Their former presidents didn't come to speak at their convention, and a lot of their sort of shining stars. Marco Rubio sent that hostage video. Ted Cruz wouldn't endorse. So they didn't have this problem, but Democrats have. Where do you put all of the famous people?
It was quite the lineup.
So it ended up, and I felt bad for Tim Kaine because Biden gives this like speech, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Joe Biden, and like the tearing and all the stuff and the Hemingway quoting, and it was very lovely.
He did great.
And the crowd was there, and then it was like, so what else you got? Michael Bloomberg comes out and is like, now the Republican's going to talk to us. What? And by the time Tim Kaine got there, it didn't feel like they were responding to him in the same way. That's a tough spot to be in.
You know, it is a tough spot to be in. I think Tim Kaine had a real opportunity last night that he took to really introduce himself to voters, to America. And, you know, we heard his story. We saw his approach to the work, his approach to this space, and his approach to the job. And for a first speech, you know, on a national stage like that, I thought he did a really great job warming up to the public, honestly, in the way that Joe Biden has done over the past 8 years. And, you know, he's not all the way there yet. He's new to that stage, but I trust him a lot as a politician and think he did a great job walking into that space last night.
Walking into that space last night, right? We're walking into that space. I mean, he definitely has, in terms of the role he's going to play in the campaign, we look at Tim Kaine, we see a guy who obviously, and maybe this is the theme I saw last night, was a surprisingly moderate, I mean, some of the speeches that I heard, Joe Biden's speech, if you'd have substituted a Republican's name in for Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden's speech would have worked great at an RNC. The crowd, the same cheer lines were optimistic. I'll put it this way. The Republican convention painted a very dire picture of the condition of the country. I mean, a very dire depiction of the country, really at the brink, a nation at the brink. We heard a depiction of the country that would have been very easily coming out of Mitt Romney's mouth or another Republican nominee in the past. Optimistic, things are going to be better. I heard Democrats chanting USA USA, USA. Now, that's traditionally a Republican joint, but was there an intentional, do you think, an intentional desire to moderate, reach out to suburban white voters? Is that a theme?
I mean, I do think there was a really optimistic undertone to all of the speeches last night, and the president really drove that home more than anybody else, right? This very optimistic, this is who America is, this is what our collective identity is. You're right that sometimes we've heard that from Republican candidates in the past, but what all the candidates did last night was do a great job of drawing the distinction between Trump and a normal Republican or a typical, other candidate that we've seen. Yeah, and so we're not making the same choice that we've made in the past. This isn't a debate about, where we stand on a couple of issues the way that it is sometimes. This is a really stark choice, and so in that space, I think the Democrats are painting where we are, who we are as Americans and where we are as a country in a really optimistic light, because that's where we are. And where we'd be going with Trump is totally different.
So Hillary Clinton is not good at giving political speeches. She gets shouty. And she's trying to demonstrate, and I feel it. I feel for you. She's trying to demonstrate excitement and energy. So the president and Biden both, they have this great range. Sometimes they can whisper and they draw the audience in, and you're like, what is he saying? I want to hear. And then they can build it up, crescendo. I mean, Joe Biden was totally shouting at the end of his speech. Mm-hmm. There were moments where the president was totally shouting at his speech, but it is about this contrast. It's the sweet and sour of how a great speech goes. Hillary Clinton doesn't have that register. And when she's working a big room, she often has problems because she gets up into this register and she can't keep a cadence. How does she do this tonight? How does she do it?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Hillary Clinton tonight. It's obviously a really historic moment for the country, with the first woman accepting the nomination of a major party.
You guys mentioned something. I think there may have been some mention of that in the convention already.
With really good reason. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. But I'm really excited to see what she does tonight. I think we saw some amazing orators last night who captured the audience in a really special way, and I'm excited to see how Hillary does that tonight.
But here's the thing. She is good and can be very good when she is being stateswomanish, when there is a reserve to her. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like someone has told her over the years, you've got to be someone you're not. Because when she seems natural and when she's at ease, and you watch her in an interview just like this, and she's totally cool, she's totally got it, she's answering the question, she's knowledgeable, she can laugh, she can be funny, but there's something about that podium, there's something about that stage that she shifts into somebody else. What would you tell her in terms of how you connect? What do you do? Because basically, we have never seen, this is late to have this many undecided voters. Normally, undecideds have dropped to about half of what they are now at this point. A lot of people are dissatisfied with their choices in toto. That includes a lot of Democrat leaners. Mm-hmm. That's Hillary Clinton's audience tonight. There's 10 or 15% of the country out there that is engaged, likely voter. What does she need to do in order to make them say, all right, I know everything about you. I've known you for 30 years, but yes.
Yeah. Hillary's a woman who's been in the spotlight, in the political spotlight for decades, right? And the president talked about this last night. And so, she does have a space on the national stage that she's been trying to fill and is filling in different ways throughout her career. And so it's fascinating and important to watch that evolve over time.
Yes. But what would you tell her?
I think that the more natural that she is, the more comfortable she is on that stage, the better. And what we've seen this week is a real process that Democrats and voters across the country are going through. We've seen, Bernie formally come out for Hillary. We've seen there's a huge amount of unity in the hall, and on a nightly basis, you feel that energy.
Except for the screaming of no war.
I mean,
huge amount. There's a lot of unity in the hall.
There's a lot of unity in the hall, and it's grown day over day. As we've moved through the process, and that's really important. So I think tonight she's walking into an audience that's really ready and excited to hear her. You heard very exciting chants of Hillary last night. and a really, again, a historic moment that that this crowd will get to witness.
Democratic strategist optimistic about Democratic candidate. Possible. Thank you for making time for us.
Thank you very much. Great to be with you.
And you, Internet, you bunch of weirdos, you lovable weirdos. We hope that you will come back for more Power Play soon. And we hope, by the way, you've had a great time in Philadelphia with us, because we have with you.